Righto, what we have here is a Ford Sierra Cosworth RS race car. It started life as a standard 3-door RS, and the Tony, who was raced at that time in a meeting in Manfield, unfortunately had an accident, and following that accident he turned it into a race car, caged it, replaced the doors with fiberglass ones, and boot, hatch, front bumper, etc. He also came across a wrecked RS 500 at that time and grabbed the motor out of it and the spoilers and that sort of stuff and stuck it on this car as well. It had Perspex windows, and Tony ran it in the Oscar class. Brett, who owns the car now, purchased it off Tony and raced it for quite a few years. This car's done hundreds and hundreds of races and has been raced continuously for a long time. During Brett's ownership, he grabbed a lot of Group A equipment, ex-Australian, most of it ex-DJR, and slowly over time put it in the car, starting with the rear end and then the front end. Brett raced an Oscar class. The motor was set back about 100, well, probably a couple of hundred mils in the car, and Brett raced it for a long time like that. And then he decided to build a space frame car and rip the running gear out of it. At that stage it ran a G-force gearbox and had an all aluminium Smith & Jones dry sump engine in it. 2012 we're at the Formula 1 Grand Prix, and they run heritage touring cars or historic touring cars as a support class, and I said to him, how about I grab this car that was out the back of his workshop looking a bit unloved, and we'll turn it into a sort of a Group A sort of carish. And he said, yep, that's cool. So over 2 or 3 years we turned it into a rolling car and managed to get it to go. We've had a few issues since then with engine sort of stuff, but we'll go over that in a few minutes. So, standard RS car. It's got the, now has glass obviously back in it again, steel doors, steel hatch, RS 500 spoilers on the back. DJR rear, of course. Rear end has a Harrop engineering 9-inch in it with a true track centre. It's got the long arms, aluminium arms, centre locks, DJR rims, all the back of it's all ex-DJR Group A equipment. Front end, Ford Motorsport struts. We've made control arms as per Group A ones. Mounting blocks, brakes are all ex-Group A stuff, APs. And that. Inside, it's caged as per what it was by Tony, the original guy, turned into cage years and years ago. I've tidied it up a bit to make it look a bit more standardish from what it has been. Gearbox is now running a Hollinger HS6 with the Ford Motorsport long valve housing ex-DJR, because as I said earlier, the motor was set back and we've had oiling issues with it because it's gone back to a wet sump. So now, a couple of years ago, or a year or so ago, we pushed the motor forward, put the Hollinger in it, and now we're taking it back to a bit more of a RS 500 spec with T4 turbo. And we had it running for a event at Hampton Downs. It was celebrated Bathurst, Dick Johnson. It was on display only. They signed the door, and as you probably see, there's a few marks in the paint there, so that's why we're going to sign the door, because the door's coming off, and we'll put another door on it and that can hang up on the wall. They also signed the dash, and they were awesome to talk to, John Bow and Dick Johnson. They were only too happy to talk about Cosies back in the day. Engine wise, it's sort of RS 500 Group A spec, Graham Good pedal box in it. We've done the oiling system to try and keep the oil in the car instead of flying out of it. This is the exhaust we're putting on. As best as not from photos, we've tried to replicate a DJR type exhaust. It's out of stainless, but a work of art, and it's a monster. Future plans is to just keep on changing it, a bit more Group A stuff in it. We're kind of like limited with the shell because it's been, the cage was designed in a different period. There's certain things been chopped out of the shell and altered over the time. The logical step would be if you could access a 909 motorsport shell, which the race cars are built out of, we'd swap all the gear into that. And I suggested that to Brett, and funnily enough, he now has a 909 motorsport shell, which sounds like a lot more work for me, but time will tell. And that's where we're at today.